Mothers began to question her, wondering where her babies had gone. Was she hiding them? Had they died? Or, even worse, had something darker happened to them? Nnenna was a small, peaceful village nestled between rolling hills and thick forest. Life there was simple, and the people, though poor, shared everything they had. But beneath the calm surface of the village, there was a secret, one whispered only in hushed tones. At the heart of this secret was a woman named Nnenna. She was mysterious, always keeping to herself, never letting anyone too close. Despite her beauty and quiet demeanor, Nnenna carried a burden known only to a few in the village. No one knew where Nnenna came from. She had appeared one day, heavily pregnant, and settled in a small hut near the edge of the forest. She never spoke of her past, and the villagers, though curious, learned not to ask. However, something unsettling followed her. Each time Nnenna gave birth, her child would disappear. And each time, she remained as calm as ever, returning to her usual life with no baby in sight. After Nnenna's third pregnancy, the whispers in the village grew louder. Mothers began to question her, wondering where her babies had gone. Was she hiding them? Had they died? Or, even worse, had something darker happened to them? Nnenna, always guarded, never answered their questions, only offering a quiet smile when pressed. One woman, Adiku, had seen something one night that she couldn't explain. She claimed to have seen a man in fine clothing leaving Nnenna's hut after one of her babies had vanished. This stirred even more suspicion among the villagers. Who was this man, they wondered? And why did Nnenna always seem to have enough money to live comfortably, even though she didn't work like the rest of them? The mystery deepened, but no one dared to confront Nnenna directly. Some believed she had made a pact with dark spirits, while others thought she was simply hiding the truth out of shame. Yet, the truth was far more terrible than they could imagine. One day, the village midwife, Mama Nkechi, who had helped Nnenna during each of her births, became concerned. Though Nnenna's deliveries were smooth, the disappearance of each newborn troubled her deeply. She approached Nnenna one evening, her wrinkled hands trembling with a mixture of fear and resolve. "Nnenna, where are your children?" she asked. Nnenna, sitting by the hearth in her small, dimly lit hut, glanced up at Mama Nkechi. She said nothing for a long time, simply stirring the pot of soup on the fire. Finally, she spoke, her voice low and emotionless. "They are where they need to be." Mama Nkechi's heart sank at the coldness of Nnenna's response. "You cannot keep doing this," she said, her voice quivering. "You must think of the lives you are bringing into this world. They deserve a chance." But Nnenna's eyes, once soft and kind, had become hard like stone. "You don't understand," Nnenna whispered. "I have no choice." Rumors of a wealthy stranger visiting Nnenna were confirmed when one evening, a tall man dressed in fine robes appeared in the village square. His skin glowed in the fading sunlight, and his gold jewelry shimmered with every movement. The villagers watched in awe as he strode through their small, dusty streets, heading directly toward Nnenna's hut. The stranger entered Nnenna's home and stayed there until nightfall. No one knew what transpired between them, but when he left, Nnenna's purse seemed heavier, and her eyes were colder than ever. That night, a baby's cry echoed briefly through the village before falling silent. By morning, Nnenna's hut was empty again. Whispers spread like wildfire. "She's selling them," some villagers muttered. "She's selling her babies to the rich." The thought horrified them, but no one had the courage to confront her. What kind of woman could sell her own child? Nnenna's dark secret lay hidden for years, but it wasn't always this way. As a young woman, she had been full of hope, dreaming of love and a family. But all that changed when she met a powerful man who made her an offer she couldn't refuse. He promised her wealth and comfort in exchange for something that chilled her soul, her unborn children. Desperate to escape her poverty-stricken life, Nnenna agreed, believing that once she had enough money, she could break free from the deal. But each time she tried to stop, the man returned, reminding her of the price she had to pay. He was not just any man, he had powers beyond the ordinary. He controlled her fate, and there was no way out. Nnenna had thought wealth would bring her happiness, but it only brought her emptiness. Each time she sold her child, a piece of her soul withered away. The villagers' suspicions grew, and though she avoided their questions, the guilt weighed heavily on her. She spent her days alone, surrounded by luxury but consumed by loneliness. At night, the cries of her lost children echoed in her dreams, haunting her relentlessly. Though she never admitted it, Nnenna had begun to feel cursed. Every coin she earned felt like blood money, and no matter how much wealth she accumulated, she could never buy back the love and innocence she had lost. She thought of her unborn children often, wondering what lives they were living, and if they even knew who their mother was. One fateful evening, the stranger returned, just as Nnenna had feared. His tall figure loomed in her doorway, casting long shadows across the walls. "It is time again," he said, his voice as cold as the night air. Nnenna's stomach churned, and for the first time, she hesitated. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered, her voice trembling. The stranger raised an eyebrow. "You made a bargain," he reminded her, stepping closer. "You knew the terms." Nnenna's heart raced, and she clutched her swollen belly. Another child was growing inside her, and soon, the cycle would repeat. But this time, something inside her had changed. She had grown tired of living in fear, and though she feared the stranger, she feared losing herself more. Determined to break free from the curse, Nnenna began searching for answers. She sought out old women in the village, those who were known to have knowledge of ancient magic and hidden secrets. One woman, Mama Yugo, had seen many strange things in her time and agreed to meet Nnenna in secret. "There is only one way to break this curse," Mama Yugo whispered, her eyes dark and knowing. "You must give something of equal value to what you've taken." Nnenna's breath caught in her throat. "But what could be equal to the lives of my children?" she asked, horrified. Mama Yugo's gaze was steady. "That is for you to decide," she said. "But beware, for the price may be more than you are willing to pay." Time moved quickly, and soon, Nnenna found herself in labor again. This time, she knew what was coming. The stranger would arrive to claim what he believed was his. As the pain of childbirth consumed her, Nnenna fought back tears, knowing that her baby would never feel the warmth of her arms. Mama Nkechi, the midwife, was at her side, silent and solemn. She knew the routine, though she had never approved of it. The baby's cry filled the room, and for a brief moment, joy flickered in Nnenna's heart. She held the child close, but before the feeling could settle, there was a knock at the door. The stranger had arrived, as he always did. Nnenna's grip tightened around the baby, but she knew she couldn't keep him. With tears in her eyes, she handed her newborn over, feeling the weight of her decision press down on her soul. Nnenna couldn't take it any longer. The guilt, the sadness, and the hollow feeling inside her were too much to bear. That night, after the stranger left with her child, she fell to her knees and wept. For hours, she cried out to the gods, begging for forgiveness, for an end to the torment. She swore to herself that this would be the last time. She would find a way to stop the madness, no matter the cost. The next morning, Nnenna made her way to Mama Yugo's hut once more. "There must be another way," she pleaded, her voice hoarse from crying. But Mama Yugo shook her head. "The price must be paid," she said firmly. "If you try to break the pact without offering something of equal value, the curse will only grow stronger." With no clear answers, Nnenna began her journey to seek redemption. She traveled far beyond Konda, searching for anyone who could help her. She visited priests, shamans, and healers, all of whom offered different solutions, but none that could truly free her from her burden. Some suggested sacrifices, others spoke of cleansing rituals, but Nnenna knew deep down that the only way out was through facing the consequences of her actions. As Nnenna traveled, she began to realize just how much her decision had cost her. She had lost her children, her happiness, and her peace of mind. Though she was wealthy, she felt like the poorest woman in the world.